you know, nobody knew what was going to happen when COVID hit. I mean, the first month, people were either completely shut down or trying to convert to make PPE, and we were part of that. We were making PPE. Our future was incredibly uncertain. And then it was around June, early summer of
Mm-hmm.
2020. All of a sudden, it went from being this like, silence to everything around e-commerce and everything related to e-commerce exploded, and it was almost like it was very odd um, for our industry. Our industry would the print-on-demand direct-to-garment industry typically follows similar peaks and valleys that the screen printing industry does. So, for example, June is typically a very slow month. The summertime's typically slower. You'll get a back to school push, and then that'll kind of ramp up into peak season. But the summer is typically slow. So, when you have a global pandemic and everything shuts down, you're kind of thinking, oh my gosh, are we going to shut down for the summer? What's going to happen? It's already slow in the summer. Now we've got a global pandemic. What happened was the demand just bounced back, and all the demand that was going to go into these long run big batches of custom products overseas came back into the United States in the form of on demand or just in time decorated apparel orders that were being sold on e-commerce platforms. So
Got it.
all of a sudden, so there was this crazy, and you can look at the data on this. The countries that were affected the hardest economically by COVID were primarily in Central America and Southeast Asia, regions of the world that are mass producing products for Europe and the United States.
Got it.
Um, and the way that these retailers typically operate with these factories is having them make lots, big batches of products that they may or may not pick up, several months later. And COVID hit right at the weakest point in the retail cycle, or the riskiest point in the retail cycle, where all these factories had all these goods ready to pick up. So for all the big brands and big retail brands, if I'm one of their suppliers in some country, I might have millions of dollars of product ready to pick up. Company didn't pick up, and that happened across the board and with coronavirus. So all these big retail orders that were ready for to be picked
Yeah, it
up
says
and
we're
handed
good.
off in chain of custody. Yeah, we're good. And so
Yeah,
that was
which happened to so
replaced.
many shops too. Hey,
Exactly,
these
exactly.
garments.
And
Sorry,
so exactly. So what did the retailers do? They put it all online, right? And so when you put it online, how do you support that, right? So already that alone increased the demand for domestic decoration activity and also domestic distribution activity. So rather than storing containers of this product overseas and then taking 8 months to kind of arbitrage it around the globe, finally ending in a bunch of stores in the United States before Christmas. Well, now companies can just basically use any of their e-commerce platforms as kind of a testing ground. So I don't have to go and pre-produce 250,000 of these things if I can
we
put
run
them
it.
online.
We kind of. It's almost like a pre-order,
Exactly.
gauge demand, keep
Exactly.
inventory. Which I've actually going to do a lot of working with shops and doing shop tours and everything. I see quite a bit of brands that they will keep blanks on hand at the shops.
Yep.
Um, and
Yep.
it's not because they're going to run it. It's because when we want to do something with this, it's there and we can turn around a lot quicker.
Exactly. Yeah.